Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. So in this video we are going to go through 10 habits or lifestyle changes that have really changed our lives. So you guys know that we've been really interested in health, healthy lifestyle, all of that stuff for quite a while now, but it definitely wasn't always that way. So we've kind of spent some time thinking about some of the key changes and habits that have made the biggest impact, and we want to share it with you guys in this video today.
So as you're listening to this video, it's really important to remember that these are things that we kind of did gradually over time. So adding in new habits like over the course of a number of years, really.
Yeah.
So don't stress out, these are not things that you have to do all at the same time.
We hope that this video just really inspires you and gives you an idea of sort of the changes that we've seen personally. So we think this video is going to be a bit of fun, and let's get started with the 10 things.
So our first change is ditching the refined cereals at breakfast. So we grew up with all of your standard,
those little Chex things.
Oh, they were so good.
Those honey Chex things.
Yeah, they were so good, and they get all like nice and soggy.
Yeah.
Don't eat them.
Cocoa Pops occasionally, but even like the more healthy cereals as well, like all the mueslis and different things like that. The bran type ones.
Yeah.
Sultana bran, cornflakes, all that kind of stuff.
Special K.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up with all of them, but the truth is that all of these cereals are really heavily refined and processed, and they're basically quick carbohydrate in the morning, so they have little to no protein, little to no fat.
And we down it with the low-fat milk as well.
Yeah.
And I think probably I saw the biggest difference when we stopped eating cereals, because before going paleo and before focusing more just on whole foods and everything, I would have a lot of blood sugar issues. So I found it really difficult to get through the day. I felt like I couldn't really leave like the house without snacks because I'd get really shaky or grumpy like between breakfast and lunch, or even between lunch and dinner. And it really came back, I think, to my breakfast was like where it all started. So as soon as I started eating more like protein, like things like eggs and veggies at breakfast, I just felt so much better, and I don't feel like I need to have snacks on hand at all times and I'm like the slave to food, if that makes sense. Yeah. I can just go for periods of time and I'll be fine.
Yeah, so that's one of the most handy things about eating a whole foods paleo diet, is that you're not completely reliant on food to keep you going throughout the day, because yeah, you can do those longer stretches of
like
time.
I couldn't go shopping, like I couldn't go like clothes shopping without getting cranky about halfway.
Or shaky, or like I'm gonna faint sort of thing. Yeah,
and it all started with like the Special K in the morning.
We actually have a breakfast ebook, by the way, so we have a number of different great paleo recipes to get you started in the morning that deliver enough, you know, protein and fats to keep you going.
So if you're looking for more ideas besides, you know, the eggs and bacon that you see everywhere, you can check that out. We'll leave it in the down bar. So our second lifestyle change is a bit similar to the first, and that is ditching all of our refined foods and flours and things. So for me it comes back to the same principle. It was like my blood sugar was just all over the place, my energy was all over the place, and not to mention what it was probably doing to hormones and everything else. Yeah. But I just noticed I often had all these energy spikes and lulls, and it came back to eating a lot of processed foods and things that I didn't even realize were processed, like breads and things.
Things that are like readily accepted and almost put under the umbrella of like a whole food. It's like included in the food pyramid. Pasta and bread are two processed foods that are always included. Yeah. You know, we kind of forget that they are very much still a refined processed foods.
So completely removing all the breads and pastas and crackers was a big thing for us.
And also not turning to things like gluten-free flours. Like, I mean, we occasionally still do have like a little bits of tapioca flour and whatnot, but it's not something that we rely on heavily. So number 3 is not being scared of fats. So we grew up kind of during our childhood years was the like
low fat craze.
Yeah. So low fat milk, low fat yogurt, you know, the less the better.
Sugar kind of went in the place of the fat. So a lot of the snacks and everything, they'd be low fat, but then there was more sugar and more flavorings and artificial bits in there to make it taste
I remember I always used to take these, like to school, I'd take these Weight Watchers bars, basically because they had like 0 fat and they're like these little cardboard brownie bar things, but like, you know, it's like that was considered to be like doing the healthy thing, but
it was even like a thing to try and cook without oil though, wasn't it? Like if you had the really non-stick kind of pan, you could cook like chicken breast or like the thigh with the fat cut off it on the pan without any oil. But I think the biggest life-changing aspect of that is that food tastes so much better now.
So much more enjoyable.
Yeah, and that's why paleo to us just does not feel restrictive. I mean, now and again when you're out and everyone wants to eat pizza and junk food, you can feel like you're the odd one out. But in terms of like eating really flavorful food, when you're eating like the traditional fats, even things like ghee, they're really super flavorsome. It just tastes really good.
And again, like we were saying before, eating plenty of healthy fats in your diet is also going to balance out that blood sugar.
So our fourth life-changing habit has been eating greens with every meal. So a few years ago, it would have been pretty shocking to the both of us to eat kale and other veggies at breakfast. But now it's like a normal thing. And I can't really imagine not eating veggies at every meal now.
And you think about it, like the foods that you used to eat, like if we kind of existed on like sandwiches and things like that, you practically don't have any vegetable in there. It's just like a piece of like processed
But I really thought that breakfast was like to be a sweet thing. Yeah, because cereal kind of teaches you it's about like the berries and a little bit of honey on it and a bit of sugar on the wheat bix and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. And
so the idea of like a savoury breakfast with shock horror, broccoli or something.
Like, why would you eat broccoli at breakfast? Like broccoli's only for dinner?
Like a dinner thing.
Why?
I don't know. So whenever like ads would come up when I was younger, like showing how much veggies you should eat in a day, like part of my brain was kind of like, I definitely don't eat that many veggies in a day. I'm not eating like cups of vegetables at night, and I'm not eating any.
Because if your first 2 meals are cereal and a sandwich at lunchtime, like which is pretty standard for most people and what's kind of promoted as normal, like how do you fit them all into one meal at the end of the day? Like, I don't know.
Especially if that meal is pasta.
Yeah. There you go. I don't know. And even like I think your taste buds just change over time, so eating vegetables becomes much more enjoyable.
Yeah,
like
I would have found it pretty intimidating eating like half a plate of veggies.
Be like, ew. I remember even coming home from school and Mum would say like, I'd be like, I want to have something, and Mum would be like, oh, have a piece of fruit, and I'm like,
that's a joke.
Woman, are you crazy?
Yeah, Mum would say, well, if you're that hungry, you'd eat an apple. And we're like, no, I'm not hungry. It's, you know, packet of chips or
yeah, but once you kind of like pull off the sugars a lot, then fruit seems like really sweet. Yeah, it's like, yay, I get to eat blueberries.
So lame.
So number 5 is learning to sleep at a reasonable hour. So I think we were both really guilty of this growing up as well. This is like always about us like growing up, I suppose.
I'm sure like so many of you relate to this though.
Yeah.
Like how many of you guys like that are our age as well like spent the nights of school like on MSN?
On MSN till like 1 in the morning. I'm like, I'm talking to these people the next day at school. Like what are we doing? But yeah, no, and then you'd wonder why you were tired the next day.
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
I mean both of us now are really good with, you know, a bedtime routine. So I go to bed around like 9:30, 10.
Yeah, probably around the same, like 10-ish.
But yeah, growing up like we were both like, I was just negotiating around, you know, I could watch TV till midnight, I could play on computer till 2, like, and then I would wonder why I felt terrible
the next day.
Yeah.
Wonder why.
And all that artificial light, like I just hate to think like what that was doing to me.
What's it doing to your brain? But yeah, so we're much better with it now, and it really pays off because the next day you feel much more clear and ready to deal with stuff.
So life-changing habit number 6 is doing weights. So I think as women it's quite easy when you start working out, going to the gym or just doing exercise to kind of get sucked into cardio but not really experimenting or learning about how to do like weight-bearing exercises. So it was probably only in the last few years for us that we became comfortable with doing weights as part of our overall like fitness routine. And I think it's like it's a huge thing at the moment, honestly. If you go on Instagram and
everyone
everything,
wants to grow a butt now.
Yeah, like women are really embracing the gym and doing weights, which is really, really good because it's just so healthy for you. But I think for myself in particular as well, like because I'm just like a very slim person and I tend to have problems with like posture and my back being weak and things like that, that was really not being helped by doing long distance running and things like that. And ever since I found weights, I can kind of actually work on sort of like the functional ability of my body to stand tall and just have like a healthy posture and a healthy kind of strong body, you know.
And I feel like those things are often like overlooked when everyone's like looking to get a big bum or whatever. You know, even basic things like supporting good posture.
Yeah, and I think sometimes even with the cardio stuff still, it can be like a very big focus on like burning calories and losing body fat and all that kind of thing. Whereas I just think doing some good like weighted exercises, it's just so healthy for your bones and just for the overall functionality of our bodies. So that was like a huge turning point.
So number 7 is prioritizing self-care. And this is something that I think both of us haven't been very good at during many times in life. And I think that it's an area that a lot of us should start focusing more attention on. You know, and especially these days, I think, because there's so much emphasis on like hustle, 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 and like sleep is for the dead. We're all stress heads.
Yeah.
And it's really, really actually very unhealthy for us.
And it can be easy. I think it can be easy as well when you get interested in health and fitness to leave that step out and be like, if I just smash the diet and do all the macros and everything and I hit the gym, I'm like living the healthy lifestyle. But if you have a lot of negative self-talk, or if you're really, really stressed, if you're anxious, worrying about certain things, it really makes a huge impact. And I think it's taken some time for us to like really realize just the importance of self-care and how important addressing emotions and all of that is. And yeah, I think for a long time there as well, I really didn't quite fully understand how much like the mind impacts the body. Because sometimes you just think, well, the body impacts the mind, but it's a kind of two-way street.
And you know, stress has such a big role in like a number of different diseases even. Like that sounds really heavy, but it's true.
Well, when I developed really bad eczema and leaky gut and all of that, I know that the years prior to that I had been pretty stressed out, but I didn't really think that like somehow I just thought I was entitled to be like miserable and negative and all these emotions. I didn't really fully understand that they were hurting my body and that it was going to manifest in my body as like, that's not to say that that's not to scare you guys and say that if you're in a negative place mentally that it is going to manifest as something.
So our camera actually just died, so maybe the light has changed, but continuing on from prioritizing self-care. So I think we were talking about how stress can really influence, you know, a number of diseases even, and that's because stress has some real physiological, biological effects in our body. So it's not just, you know, up in our head or like an energy thing.
I just feel like I really thought like I could just focus on negative things or be down in the dumps or hold grudges or have like all this sort of negative stuff going on mentally, and was like, it didn't impact my physical health. And now I'm like really mindful that you know that if you're like in a funk for multiple days or if you get really anxious and overly worried about something you can't control, it's like, hey, like I better sort this out because it's actually gonna hurt me if I keep like letting it roll, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So there are a number of different things that we do for self-care. So if you guys want a specific video on kind of like our self-care practices or like a pamper routine, we would love to do that for you. So let us know in the comments below or give the video a thumbs up if that's something that you'd like.
So lifestyle change number 8, which has changed our life, is switching to natural beauty products, so skincare and natural makeup. Now this one has been huge because I think we did it gradually over time. Like, you know, we didn't really just throw out all of our conventional products and buy heaps and heaps of new.
I'm still weaning off a lot of old products that I still have.
Yeah, I've probably, like, I could say now, I'm like 95% natural products. And it just makes such a huge difference when you actually go back and like use a conventional product. Although sometimes like the formulation Actually, the formulation of natural products has gotten so much better. You know, so a lot of the conventional products, they work quite well in terms of like their texture or appearance, but my God, they smell.
They smell and they're not very good for your skin. Like for me personally, the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 days I've been using a more conventional foundation on my skin because I ran out of the natural one that I was using. And already I can tell that I'm getting more like spots and little
like congestion.
Yeah.
And I used to use a lot of, like all the lipsticks that I used in the past, I used to notice a lot of peeling and dryness, and a lot of my favourite lip products I could really only use for like one day, and then I'd have to go off them and use like lip balm and things like that. And I just thought it was normal that my lips were like really dry. So it's kind of funny nowadays, I just think, you know, I just don't even notice that anymore.
Yeah, because you're putting on so many different...
Yeah, and now just the thought of applying like a lipstick that made my lips like peel off is like, duh. It's like of course it must have been irritation, but
yeah,
so many of the products slathered all over us. Like even like the conventional shampoos, like my hair would be so dry and like prone to split ends. And that was back when I wasn't even colouring or doing anything with my hair. So it was like virgin natural hair, and it was just getting so dry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely life-changing when you use natural products. You just avoid so many toxic, smelly chemicals.
Give your liver a break. So our 9th life-changing habit is spending more time outdoors. So this is something that we talk about quite a bit here on this channel. Basically because it's so good for like the mind and the body and the soul. As humans, you know, naturally we used to live outside, and these days we're all indoors, we're away from the light. Often our work environments are kind of tucked away out of the sunlight. So getting back to nature and getting back outside is super important, especially for our vitamin D levels.
Yeah, and personally as well, I used to be quite, I think like back in the day, like when you weren't so interested in living healthy and specifically a sort of paleo lifestyle, it was like outside was dirty, like you get dirty, which was bad, and like the sun on you was bad.
Yeah, we used a lot of sunblock. Like
used a lot of like really those chemical sunblocks.
A lot of fear about going out in the sun. Like,
yeah. And I mean, obviously it's important to protect your skin and not get burnt and things frequently, but I would have definitely been vitamin D deficient because I was really thinking about not going in the sun. And you know, if you got your hands dirty or touched anything like on the ground, you'd be thinking about hand sanitizer and cleaning hands, which has completely changed.
Now it seems a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't even really take a lot. Even just going outside for 10 to 15 minutes a day can like really make a huge difference. So going for a walk either in the morning or the evening, just getting a bit of that natural light on your skin and like even in the retina of your eye, like to keep that healthy circadian rhythm going and helping with your sleep.
So our 10th and final life-changing habit is prioritizing where we spend our money, and that is towards healthy food rather than things that we don't need and other things like eating out.
All the time I think people think they don't have the money to eat whole foods, but at the same time perhaps you're spending a lot of money eating out frequently throughout the week.
Yeah, so for me it's really been a change in my priorities. So I used to spend a lot of money as well on makeup and clothes, and these days I just feel like my priorities are more focused around health and well-being of myself and my husband at home, and I'm really focused on, you know, buying things that add to our life. And for me that's really nourishing food and, you know, trying to buy organic wherever I can, the best quality meats and things that we can. And it just makes such a difference because we eat so much nicer, tastier, better food at home than back in the day when I was spending my paycheck on new clothes and takeaway.
And it's not even always about saying that you have to buy like all organic It's really about what you can afford and what's reasonable for you.
Okay guys, so those were our 10 life-changing healthy habits. We hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you have any habits of your own that really added to your life and that you want to share, please leave them in the comments below for us. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave us a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more health and beauty related content, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye guys.
Bye.